Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek Discovery Season 1, Episode 15. It is the season finale. It is called Will You Take My Hand? So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. Apologies, we're a little bit late with this one. We never actually talked about what reason we'd give, but you were asleep, basically.
I had a long day at work and I crashed.
That's the short explanation. So yeah, but here we go. So this is the Star Trek finale. We came into this with a really lukewarm kind of set of expectations. We kind of talked a lot last week about how either it does A or B, and neither one's going to be completely satisfying. Both will have their share of problems. And the one that they went for was that everything's wrapped up neatly.
Yeah, and you know what was really strange about it?
Uh-huh.
This might be the slowest paced season finale of anything I've seen in a long time.
Here's the thing: the first half of the episode felt like a random middle of the season episode. It was, let's go to a planet and then try and get some information. It was just very
Right.
by the numbers. And then the second half, it did go into sort of finale mode, but it just kind of rushed through everything really quickly, and it just kind of, we're done.
Yeah. There was no urgency to it either. Like, even though you say it rushed through it, it was kind of just like, okay, here's the next thing.
Sure, it rushed
Oh
through
yeah, yeah,
it rushed through the ideas, but the momentum was lacking.
Yeah, it just kind of went from thing to thing. There was no flow.
And the ideas themselves were kind of fine. I kind of like the idea of Michael standing up and saying, "No, we're Starfleet. We don't do that. We don't commit genocide. We don't do that. Stop it
Yeah.
right now." And it's meant to be like the end of her arc from the first episode, where she's now saying, "Hey, I can't just drop the ideals of Federation just because I think it's worthy of the surviving. It has to be, we have to uphold ourselves, and it's not worth, it's not worth cheating those, because then we have to live with the fact that we've altered
They broke their own morality.
the principles. So that's a nice idea. It's just a fine idea. But we have this scene where she stands up to the admiral, and the entire crew just sort of slowly stand up with her and in unison and say, "No, we're not doing this." And again, I like the idea, but there was
Weirdly no weight in the moment though.
there wasn't, and mainly because it felt like, again, it just felt rushed. It felt like we need half an episode of at least them chewing on the idea of knowing that this is what they were going to have to do before we got to this decision. For the rest of the people on the bridge, they found out about this being the plan and then stood up within the space of 2 minutes.
Yeah, I guess the point is supposed to be like, no, this is so bad, they don't need to think about it. They're just going to stand up and say, hey, no. But then it's like, well, why did our core cast have to chew on it for so long? It makes them come across as worse people than the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything just feels like, the ideas are there, but the actual execution just leaves me just so deflated and so it just, again, you just went through the motions. You did the beats, but you didn't actually put any weight into any of the beats individually. You didn't build to any of them individually. You didn't make anything feel like it had weight to it. You just went through like a checklist. There's a scene where she convinces the crew to all sort of stand behind her. Oh, here's the scene where they convince L'Rell to try and unify the Klingons again and stop the war.
I don't know entirely why this episode exists. I don't understand why. Okay, this is what we're doing here for the end of the season. This is what we're doing. This is it. It doesn't make any sense to me as the climax to the story we set up at the start.
Well, the last 10 minutes does.
Well, yeah, on its own individually, sure that does, but in the sense of where it is in the episode, what it's doing, it's like, okay, this is here now for just reasons.
I don't know. It was strange to me because they convinced L'Rell. She gives a speech to the Klingons. We get a scene with her saying goodbye to Ash, who still has zero chemistry, and I'm shocked that he's not dead. I am shocked that he's alive coming out of this season. I am legitimately shocked.
It's strange.
Part of me was even hoping he'd be dead, just because I feel like there's nothing left to do with him of interest. Because they have this emotional goodbye, the camera goes in as they kiss, and it's this, maybe heartbreaking moment, and I'm just like, bye bye.
Yeah, pretty much. I actually don't know what they do with Ash, because obviously a lot of his stuff in this episode is, hey, I can be useful. I know all this Klingon information. But it feels like we're moving away from Klingons in season 2, given where this ended. So, okay.
And that's the thing. This episode quickly wrapping up the Klingon War feels super cheap for a couple of reasons. The main one being that we kind of ignored the Klingon plot for like a good third of the season just before this.
Which would be fine if this was going to continue into next season. It would still be a little strange, but it wouldn't leave this feeling rushed. It would be like, okay, over the 2 seasons, there would still be a majority dedicated to this plot.
Sure, but there's not. It's done.
No, exactly. It's strange.
And they might do something with Klingons next season. There might be like a growing sort of like, oh, we're starting to not be at war and hate each other. We're starting to just build the relationship just slowly, and maybe there'll be like an episode next season where they have to like work with the Klingon ship to do something, and it'll be like this uneasy alliance, and they'll do something with that. Possibly, like there's things to do with it, but I can't help but feel like we ignored the Klingon War for like all that mirror universe stuff, right? And then we came back, we're like, okay, new status quo, the Klingons are winning. And we even said, oh, they have to go back in time or something, because this does not feel like the history from before the original series.
It felt like they were already defeated with the way they were talking. Like there's a couple of survivors almost. There's a few lone ships out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they never really attacked any of the homeworlds, which I guess is how you get around it, say, oh, it wasn't that disastrous because it was only military outposts and things like that.
Yeah, but when they talk about all the bases that they hit, like what was it, base 1 last week?
Yeah, Starbase 1. Yeah,
that feels like, okay, that's probably your primary base, because if that's your first one. That feels like a major strategic loss. That I don't know. I never got the impression it was that bad.
Yeah, when it gets to the final scenes in this episode, and Michael's getting her badge back, and she's got her chest, Sarek's all proud of her, and everyone's like cheering because she has this great speech. They're all getting medals of honor, and she gives this great speech, and everyone's like, "Because we are Starfleet," and they all start cheering, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, I just don't feel it. I don't feel like they earned this pat in the back at the end.
No, me either. And it's a shame because I do like the ideas and what they're saying. It's just it feels hollow.
Especially since, like, other than like a select few people, like, don't the majority of people still just think of Michael as this traitor, as this mutineer, who started the war in the first place,
yeah.
And even on the first day killed thousands of people, and arguably everyone who's died since is to a point her fault, like. No, yeah, Michael, yeah, she helped stop the war, yeah, but she probably started it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, okay, she probably deserves a medal, and I agree. From the command's point of view, where they know what she's actually done, she deserves that recognition. Especially,
don't get me wrong. I get the idea that they were about to do what she did in the first place and lose their principles and do something horrific to win, and she talked them out of it. She actually helped maintain what they're supposed to be. I get why to them that's like, oh no, she's proven herself because we were almost about to do what she did. But to the general Starfleet, to the general public who know her as
all the regular cadets and officers, like, why did they don't know all this information? A lot of this will be classified, surely.
Yeah, there's a handful of people who'll know, and then
it's just strange.
It's weird. It felt like big beats were missing, and then obviously we've glossed over the first half and a lot of what, like, Georgiou's like being evil, and there's some fun stuff there. There's also some really random stuff. Like I was not expecting her to go get 2 prostitutes for a scene,
just because.
Just because, really, to show that she's like risque, I guess.
Yeah. We'll get Tilly high.
Because.
Yeah, there's not really a reason for it. It just kind of happens.
The one or 2 moments I liked with the Giorgio stuff. I like when Tilly comes in thinking it's actually the real Giorgio, and
she's gushing, and then it's like, never mind.
She starts speaking. She's like, "Wait, so you're not?" She's from, and she looks over at the other 2. It's like, "Oh, you're the Emperor," and she does the little salute, and Michael's like, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
And that made me laugh. That was a good little moment. But hey, yeah, I mean, we seem to forget Stamets for like the whole episode, which actually reminds me, they don't lose the spore drive or anything like that. They're just deciding to not use it.
Yeah, I think The way he says it at the end, it's too dangerous for him to use because it'll, go badly for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he says they're looking for a non-human host.
Yeah. See, this would be fine if it didn't seem like the last, ever since he woke up again, like it's been easy as anything for him. Like it doesn't feel like there's been any like struggle or difficulty with it. It just feels like he can do it.
It doesn't. That's the implication that he's telling me is like, okay, no, it's not safe for him to do it still. So they're gonna find another way, and until then, they're in regular warp mode. But it doesn't really track with what we saw.
Joe, what pisses me off with the complaints we have about this show, right? And this really upsets me. This is the sort of thing where people who disagree with the complaints have enough information in the show to dispute them on a pure fact basis. They can offer us facts. The show technically told us this, it technically told us that, therefore this is okay. And it's not though, because it just doesn't feel right. Like they actually do enough to make it feel like it works. This is the kind of, like, honestly, people like you, if I'm honest, Connor, right? People like you, right? Like, for example, when you're talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi, and you're telling me, oh no, this is okay because of this and that. It's like, well, it's fine, yeah, you can technically explain it with details that they've got in there, but it doesn't necessarily feel like they've earned moments or whatever.
I think you're right, and that the thing is though, that's subjective, isn't it? Like, it's to us, this doesn't feel like it earned it. But I'm sure to the people who are defending it, they feel like it did. So it's one of those where this is why this is a review. It's opinion piece, isn't it?
It is. Although I feel like if I hadn't just compared it to you defending The Last Jedi, you'd have been a lot harsher in your rebuttal there. I feel like I neutered that by comparing you to it first.
I was being diplomatic.
You wouldn't have been, though. If I had just said that without the Star Wars bit, you'd have been like firing and like, they're idiots, they're blah 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 blah.
You have no proof of that.
I just know. I don't need proof. I know.
Yeah, well, you ain't got shit.
So, but that, because it's technically true. Like they technically tell us all the bits we need, but it is the absolute bare minimum, and there's the feeling just isn't there.
Definitely.
You know? Like, you can say, oh, that's a big moment for Michael, because it does completely like flip on its head what happened in the first episode, which is why I say I like the idea. It actually works really well in that sense. I still stand by my opinion, though, that we shouldn't have got those first two episodes like we did. Like, we should have started at episode 3 and maybe had some flashbacks, or,
Yeah, I still disagree with you on this one. I like those.
I feel like make us like her first and then show us what she did that was wrong. It was just weird starting with the... But it doesn't really matter. We've had that debate before.
That's not the problem really at this point of the season.
But like it does, like, it's the opposite. She's learned that was wrong to lose her principles over it, and she's realized no, we have to uphold those, otherwise we're not who we are. That's the whole point of Starfleet, is we uphold those ideals no matter what. That's what makes us better than the Terrans. That's what makes us better than, at least right now, the Klingons. That's what makes us better. That's what makes us pure. Blah 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 blah. Perfect. That's fine. But it all just happens. It all just kind of rushed at the end. There's no real...
It just doesn't land, does it?
No. And I couldn't help but feel like I actually got her pin back, and she's all emotional, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I buy it. Like, I feel like this is the obvious thing that was going to happen at the end of the season, because we knew it was always going to go there
right away.
But I felt like by the time it got there, it'd feel like, yeah, this makes sense. She's getting it back, and I don't know if it necessarily does.
This is the thing. For me, it makes sense for her getting it back. Like I say, I get why the command appreciate what she's done and go, okay, no, you get this back. I don't get the ceremony, though. I really don't. But I do get her actually being part of Starfleet again. That lands, just not the full context of it.
Yeah, well, I guess again, I'm going back to what I just kind of said about feeling it and not...
Yeah.
I mean, when the emotional moment where she gets... It's not that it doesn't make sense to me that Starfleet Command thinks she deserves it. Given the details, it does make sense. I'm saying it doesn't... The emotion of it doesn't land, because I don't feel like she's proven to me. If that makes sense.
That's fair. I'll disagree slightly on that one. Even though the moment of her standing up did feel a bit hollow, it was enough for me to feel that she got... Like she was doing it still enough. It was enough for me there that she gets the badge back.
Yeah, again, that's that difference between, from a detail point of view, technically there's just enough there to say it.
There is. This is down to just whether or not you feel it in the moment.
Yeah.
There is no real argue on this one. I can't say to you you're wrong, because I can see why you feel that way.
And because of that, and of course they cock tease that there's going to be a new captain, because they say, oh, we're going to go to Vulcan and pick up our new captain, and they're going to see who that is till next season. And then of course the giant fan, I don't want to call it fan service necessarily, but
the tease.
They're picking up a signal as they're in warp speed, and like they're saying, oh, the code of the ship's coming through, and you see NC, and I'm like, oh, I bet I know what ship this is. And like, oh, Captain Pike is hailing us. And, Michael steps in dramatically and goes, it's the Enterprise. And then, the main theme plays as the Enterprise sweeps in. And we end with the two ships.
Yeah.
Not hostile, but just staring each other down. That's kind of how...
Yeah. I do like this. I'm intrigued to see what they do with it, because... and how bold they'll be with it.
The moment works well enough. Like when the music started playing and you see it fly in, I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting the feels. This is working on a pure.
I mean, the other thing I'm thinking, like, so Sarek's on the ship with us at the moment as this is going down, and assuming my point in the timeline's right, Spock should be on the Enterprise.
I can't remember how long he was in the Enterprise before.
He definitely was there with Pike, though.
He was there with Pike, but that doesn't necessarily mean he was there 10 years ago with Pike.
No, that's true. But I mean, we know he's in Starfleet for sure. So I'm like, okay, he could be on there.
Oh, I suppose technically 9 years now, because they skipped like 9-10 months, right?
They did, yeah.
So technically it's 9 years before the original show now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, we know he was in there from some of the flashbacky stuff with Sarek and Michael.
Oh, the cage, yeah.
But no. I mean, in this show, we know that he's already in Starfleet.
I was just saying we know he was with Pike because because of the cage, and then of course the menagerie, which was the repurposed footage of it. But
yes, exactly. And so I'm thinking that stuff could be interesting. I mean, obviously it's a bold move if they go to recast him, but it'd be interesting to see that from this ship, and you've got Sarek on board, and we can do some interesting things with that. I think. I just don't know if they will.
Interesting to get a captain. I really thought Saru was going to be promoted.
I did too. And obviously Tilly's on the captain's track now. They put her on that program.
Yeah. She's still been in the ship though, I imagine.
I assume so. I assume she'll be... I assume the track is like, okay, they get trained up under their current captain.
Yeah. I imagine we'll see her like studying like every so often or something, so she's going to take exams on the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I am intrigued to see who they end up with. The most likely option is they just don't know yet, and they're going, okay, who do we want to cast for next season?
Probably. I imagine they're probably going to want someone kind of like how Michelle Yeoh and Jason Agnes were both notable people. We're like, okay, we know who that actor is. I feel like they're going to do that again. My only worry, though, when they do that again, is that if they end up leaving or dying by the end of the second season, then it's going to feel like a revolving door of, like, we always have a guest captain for the season.
No, it's true. I feel like you can do it next season, and you can get away with it, as long as after that you tell me Saru or Michael is the captain.
Yeah.
That's the only way I buy it.
If you want your nuts, go with Tilly. Put her in charge.
Well, that's the thing. If they wanted to keep the guest captain for a couple of seasons and give Tilly a couple of years to be on a captain's track, and then she takes over, I'd be down for that. Yeah, but I can't see that happen until like season 4, unless they do a time jump.
Yeah, no. I'm only kind of half been serious. Obviously, I expect.
No, but I could see it as being like that. That could be a nice status quo shift at some point in the show.
Yeah, see her turn from her current goofy self to captain material.
Yeah
could be
I'd be down for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, obviously, we've been quite negative on this finale, and I don't want to just be a downer on it because, like I say, I like the ideas. I like parts of the season, but I think these last 2 episodes have actually kind of just reignited all of the other problems that we had earlier on in the show, and kind of pointed out how the season as a whole was a weak season.
It was very mixed bag. I had a strong point in the middle.
Yes.
Where it did have a strong run where I thought, okay, this is pretty good now. This is looking up. And then, then we stumbled at the end. And here's
the sad part, though. It's not even like you can say, the Mirror Universe sort of like side plot ended up being really good. Because it started off really good, but unfortunately that also like went downhill for the last couple episodes.
Only in the final episode, really.
Oh no, I thought the one before
the
last
like 5 minutes of the one before.
No, I would say the whole episode before that, because my complaint wasn't just the reveal at the end; it was also just the pacing and jumping around. Like,
that's true.
I thought the episode overall
was a bit squashed in, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought the episode overall was lacking
No, that's fair.
a focus, I guess. So, but no, so it's really unfortunate. Like, so even the most exciting stuff, because let's be honest, the Klingon War was never the exciting part. It was the teases of the mirror stuff that was really exciting at first, and then who's Lorca, and we liked that stuff to a point. And then we got the build up when they first went over to the universe. That was good, but then it kind of whiffed on the last couple of episodes. And because of that, there's no one singular plot that I actually liked all the way through.
No, me either. I think the best, like in terms of that, was the side plot of episode 7, where it was the time loop.
Oh sure, but that's like one episode.
That's
plot,
a one episode plot. But other than that, like
no, I'm talking about the plot threads going all. I'm talking Lorca,
exactly.
Mirror Universe, Klingon War, and Ash being the four kind of plots, if you will, that drove the season.
They all had their ups and downs, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think like Ash, like he was okay, but he never really had chemistry with Michael, so the romance was never necessarily that viable. It never felt right.
There was a point in the middle where I liked what it was doing with him, even though so after they'd got him back, but before it went off the rails. I thought, okay, they're doing something nice here, even though the chemistry wasn't there yet. I thought they could build it up still because they had time. They've these two people as characters barely knew each other yet, but it just never went anywhere, and it kind of just stumbled.
Yeah, my problem is that we got to a point where they were confessing love for each other, and I'm just like, what? When? When did that happen?
Yeah, I still don't buy that at all.
So that bugs me. The Klingon War, one of the biggest complaints we had in the first few episodes was actually all the Klingon scenes with the Klingon, dialogue with subtitles. Which, by the way, the previously on was in Klingon this time. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, I skipped the previously ons. I don't feel like I need them, so I just skip them.
I'll watch them because I need them. I let them play while I'm, setting up.
Setting up your sound levels.
Yeah, whatever. Just checking my phone one last time.
Well, I get that. I just go. I'll skip it.
I don't know.
I've got time to watch previously ons.
I don't know. It's just it's a minute of prep time before I have to focus in. But yeah, so yeah, but even though that was a complaint early on, and as much as you think, oh, we'd be happy they left it, but no, we spent so much time. Like the first 2 episodes, but not only Michael set up, but the whole thing was setting up the Klingons, and I feel like they then mostly got forgotten for the back half of the season.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the premise of the show, was the Klingon War, and it was like, okay.
I'll be honest, I don't feel we actually got much of the war, really.
No, I don't either. We got a few scouting missions at the start. The closest we got was obviously when they went into the cell and where they got Ash and Mud was in there.
And here's the other thing: I feel like there was characters who it felt like they were setting up to be major players. I like when they were teasing Vok and L'Rell early on. I felt like, okay, by the end of the season, I'm going to know a lot about these two. I'm going to really understand them as the villains or as the weird anti-heroes they may turn into, depending. And I feel like now at the end, I'm like, I barely know anything more about them. I feel like I feel like they've not moved.
Do you know what really irritates me about the Ash Vok stuff? What impact, other than just Ash having some knowledge, it doesn't actually have any impact on anything.
Not unless you do some great grand stuff with them in season 2. But yeah, it was really.
It feels like for all the whole premise of this was a Klingon, he's now in a man's body, and you've got the dual personalities of both of them. I don't feel like they really did anything with that.
He killed someone, and
yeah, but and then that was it. And then we were like, oh, he's fine now.
Let's be honest. Well, this goes back to it feeling hollow because it feels like it was just for the twist. It was for the sake of having the shock.
It was, yeah, and that's the thing. I was into it at that moment because I really like it as an idea, but then they just didn't do anything with it. They just went, L'Rell's made him so he's fine again for some reason, and he's got that control.
I think I like the idea more with a different actor. I feel like Shazad Latif doesn't really have enough presence to make me because I feel like if you're going to go with this idea that he could be a Klingon secretly inside, there should be a menace to him, or maybe an intimidation factor of some kind, or.
I'll tell you what the problem is for me. I don't think he's got it to carry off 2 different personalities at once. Like, obviously, he was in the Vogue makeup and stuff, and he was pulling off a separate character there. But as himself just switching between two personalities, I didn't really buy it. I don't
No,
think he's got it in him for that.
no, I'd agree with that. He, yeah, it's a shame. I feel like things were getting better halfway through, and I really thought, oh, this is really picking up. We seem to be the second half of the season's finding its feet, and it's really upsetting that instead it was a momentary high before it started to like fall off the cliff again, and I'm just like, oh great, we're at the end now, and all I can say is like how everything didn't kind of really work that well.
Yeah, it was like what 7 through 11 or 12 was a pretty good spot.
Yeah, and then it.
So maybe a quarter of the season was good. Was like outright good. There was obviously good spots in a lot of the other earlier stuff, just it wasn't quite there. But it's not much overall, is it?
No, it's a shame. I mean, obviously we can hope season 2 is better, and this is the thing. I mean, what I will say in terms of positives is I do think I like a lot of the rest of the cast. I like Michael now. I like Stamets. I like Tilly. I like Saru. That's 4 of your main core cast there.
That's enough.
Yeah, like I like all of them by the end of the season. So that's good for going forward. I mean, if they give them all time, they give them stuff to do next season.
Yeah, and obviously we've wrapped up seemingly the Klingon stuff for now, so we can get a fresh start maybe and do something new with the show, which might be to its benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not trying to be tied into the whole problem, at least early on, was okay, it's doing this war stuff, it's super gritty, it's trying to be this really hard science fiction to tie into this war themes. If we don't have to be at war, we can do some just a bit more classic, I suppose, relax into it a little bit more.
Yeah, if I'm going to be cynical and just play a bit devil's advocate for the ending here with the tease of the Enterprise, part of me does feel a little bit like this is, hey, we want them to sign up again for season 2. We'll give them this tease that they can't resist to come back for. And when you're saying, okay, there's nothing wrong with necessarily doing that, it does feel almost just a little bit dirty. That the tease is, hey, here's something from an actual, a good Star Trek show.
No, I agree. It's a bit cheap because they didn't earn their cliffhanger. This is the thing. 2 episodes ago, when we came back from the Mirror Universe, if that had been the end, I think that's a good enough cliffhanger that you earned to come back on.
Yeah, because that's something your story built up to. Nothing built up to this. This is just all of a sudden Enterprise.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, hey, you like Enterprise, come back.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to come back, but, I mean, really? It is not really their own work, this cliffhanger, is it?
No, this is just resting on the nostalgia of
it's resting on just
before.
Being Star Trek.
Yeah. Which, as much as the moment itself plays well enough, it's and this is the thing, I feel like had the rest of the show gotten really good and been great, I wouldn't have even complained about this, even though they wouldn't have earned this particular cliffhanger, because I'd have been excited, like, oh, we're going to have this crew interact with the Enterprise, and that could be fun.
And I am still excited about that.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, okay.
But I feel like because the season has been subpar, because it's been full of problems, because it's been very rocky, it feels more cheap because of that. Had it been great, and then we get this as the last little bonus scene, and I'm like, oh, that's exciting, and I wouldn't have really complained that it was a bit cheap, because it doesn't really matter. Because they've already won me over anyway. Whereas here it feels like, no, we know we've not really won you over, so here's something to hopefully grab you.
It does feel like a bit of a last-ditch effort, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I know that probably sounds really cynical and jaded, but honestly,
and it'll work because I know I was like, oh, this is awesome when it was happening. When it finishes and the credits music is the classic credits music.
Yeah, although I'm going to criticise that just a touch, because I think it's fine. I think it's a nice idea. It's hurt a little bit because the movie already did that. But at the end of the J.J. Abrams movie, it did the same thing. It went into the classic closing credits
that's true.
music.
You're right.
So even though it's a nice touch, I kind of smiled and went, well, yeah, but I mean, this isn't even like a new idea to like use that music again.
Oh, okay. I'll be honest, I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I remember getting to that point. I was with friends in the cinema, and we got to that the credits. There's like the final little speech. Space, the final frontier. Right, and then it went to the titles, and then we weren't expecting the classic credits theme, and it kicked in, and me and my friend were sitting singing along with it. So it's very vivid in my head because it was. Like,
no, that's fair. I've not seen that movie probably in a good few years now. Maybe I think I last watched it before Into Darkness came out. So it's been a while.
I mean, that season's been better than Into Darkness. I'll give it
Oh
that.
yeah, definitely. It's
I'll give it
not
those
high
points.
praise, but it's praise.
I wonder how we're going to feel when we get to like Voyager and Enterprise, like we're because I mean Discovery has the chance to still become something great. And to be fair, I've heard seasons 3 and 4 of Enterprise are much better. I've heard that. I mean, even Deep Space Nine, I don't think really gets good until like season 3 or 4.
Yeah, everyone says that about Next Gen as well.
Yeah, season 3 is the one where it gets good. Yeah, I've heard that.
And that's the thing. This is not bad enough that I want to write it off entirely.
Oh,
It's
sure,
got problems, but there's, I like the cast. I like ideas that it's playing with. There's potential. There really is. This could still be something great in next season, and I want to be hopeful. I do, but I don't know. It's just it's left me on a sour note, hasn't it?
Do you know what would be great? If when all the crew stood up around the bridge to like stand in unison with Michael, if I could name one of those characters.
Yeah, I still can't name any of them.
I can see Kayla Detmer just on IMDb at glance, but that's only because I can.
Who's that?
That's the redhead with the tech thing on the side of her head.
Do you know what the worst part is? We see her, most episodes?
We see all of them. It's her, the black woman, the alien dude with the blue and the black, sort of plasticky head.
Yeah, but her specifically, like I'm just saying that we see her most episodes, and you've said her name then, and that
doesn't ring a
has
bell.
Zero recognition in my mind. I'm like, have I heard that name since episode 1?
Did you even hear it in episode 1?
I assume we heard it in episode 1, maybe
Oh no!
episode.
No! You wouldn't have, because didn't like most of the people were they all on that?
Because she was on the other ship. Because,
was she on
she didn't have the thing in her head before that,
Okay.
but she got it from that.
Alright, she was on the Shenzhou. Okay, fair enough. Because a lot of them weren't on. Some of them were on Shenzhou.
No, a lot of them weren't, but she was, because that was a big thing when Michael walked in onto the bridge of the new ship, and she was there with Saru.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I remember that. I didn't remember her name, but I do remember that.
Oh dear.
Just on that point, it's even weirder that she was on the Shenzhou. She's been there since the very start. She's got this, actual history with Michael, more so than most of the cast.
I've never seen her have a conversation with her.
I really don't think we have.
Here's another thing that I think would have made the whole speech from Michael and everyone standing up to be with her. I feel like I know they wanted it to be like a twist that the Admiral and the rest of the Federation agreed to this plan to essentially bomb the entire planet and destroy it.
Yeah.
If we'd actually gotten the weight of them making that decision, if we'd actually got the Admiral struggling over, okay, we have to make that choice, like what's gotten so bad that they're willing to even consider this as an option. Like, if we actually saw the weight of that on their face, like if they had to make that choice, like even if it was like once we found out, via the twist when Michael realised what it was, then we cut back to a flashback of them at like a round table, like discussing it and being like, okay, here's why we did this.
Even just in the conversation that Michael's having with her defending herself a bit more and going, no, we went through this. This is the difficulty. She's just like, yeah, this is the way it's got to be.
Or even show some emotion as she defends herself. Like she's passionate about it, like we have to do this because of these reasons, and like look, have her feel distraught, have her feel like she hates that she's doing this, but she believes it's the only possible option. Like have that. Instead, she kind of feels like she's just on a normal conference call for Star Trek.
Pretty much.
It's just the feeling's not there. It's weird.
It is. It's strange.
Oh well, I guess we could go back and like go more bit by bit of the first half of the episode, but I don't really feel there's much point.
I think ultimately I'm just disappointed. I mean, there's things in the first half that I don't know why they're there though, like Ash fitting in with all the Klingons and having the moment with Michael. I'm like, okay, but why does this matter now?
I know, because at least a conversation where she tells him about how her parents died and how she feels guilty because she insisted to stay on the planet for another couple of days, and that's when they got killed by Klingons. And I'm like, okay, right, fair enough. You're Bruce Wayne, we get it. Yeah, you wanted to leave the movie theater because you were scared. You got your parents killed, right? You're Batman.
It's a fine moment, but really, this is a season finale moment. Like, what's that doing in this episode?
It could be if we felt it was missing. Like, if it was, again, the reveal of what actually happened to her parents and her guilt over that, if it felt like that was something that we'd been, inching, really wanting to know all season because it felt like it was driving something, but we didn't really know the details, we didn't know what was behind it. If we'd ever heard him ask about it, perhaps, before, and she'd, refused to tell him, something like that, if it was payoff to something, instead it feels like, oh, it was her fault, okay, I never even thought about it before this moment.
No, it'd always been no. Klingons killed her parents, and she had that anger because of it. That was enough for me to not question it.
No, that's enough.
Like, okay.
I mean, they can make a moment out of this. It just doesn't feel like it comes out of anywhere.
That's the thing. It's like that was enough for me to not question it, and because they hadn't dropped any other hints towards it, I had no reason to think there was more until. And then this is just like, oh, there's more. Okay. I don't know. It kind of falls flat because of it.
Yeah, and I mean, because the whole thing is she realizes here that Klingons are just like people. They're all just kind of trying to get by. Like they're not all just down here killing everything. Like they're a society.
They're people. Yeah, like you say, they have lives.
And again, fine idea. It just kind of feels like the execution is just a complete whiff. I don't.
It is. It's a shame.
Disappointing season. Disappointing finale. Lots and lots of problems, which we can only hope will be rectified in season 2. But I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, like I said, I think by the end of the season, the highlight are the core characters that we've got by far.
Core characters, and episode 7 was easily the best episode. I don't think anything topped it.
No, I agree with that. And the fact that the characters are strong at this point is a good sign going forward, because
here's the thing, though.
Give us something to connect on.
Here's the thing, though. I feel they're strong almost in spite of the writing.
Yeah.
Because they brush through so many things with all these characters. They throw in so many ideas without actually developing them or actually building up to them, that I'm actually impressed how much I like them. And maybe that's a credit to the cast more than anything else. Maybe it's the actors who are pulling that off and making me care just from the performances, even though the writing's not really justifying it.
They've got charisma to their parts, haven't they?
Yeah. Which is why Ash is notably lacking that, because everyone else
really
does.
Stands out against the rest of them, doesn't he?
So, hey, there you go. That's the season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. Man, that was a negative conversation.
The thing is, this episode wasn't that bad. It wasn't an awful watch. It's just so underwhelming and disappointing as the end of a season.
Yeah, it was an awful finale.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, we're being really negative. It's still like, all right, fine, you want to watch it, you can watch it. It's not going to kill you.
It's a mediocre episode in general, but it is a disaster as a finale.
Yeah, definitely.
So there you go. That's the Star Trek Discovery Season 1 finale. If you want to hear us possibly being positive about Star Trek, we're doing reviews of the original series as well. We're almost finished Season 2.
Which means you might not hear us be positive for too much longer.
Yeah, because Season 3 is apparently pretty bad. I mean, admittedly, it's very 50-50. I feel like for every episode that we love, there's an episode that we just downright hate. But because they're all standalone episodes, there's none of this complaining about season-long plots or arcs or anything like that. It's just pure...
What do we got this week?
Yeah. Was this episode good? Was it about a godlike entity or about a primitive culture? It probably sucked. Was it actually posing good ideas and had like an interesting sort of premise? Then it was probably fantastic. That's basically Star Trek, the original series, in a nutshell.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you're going to go and bother listening to all our reviews now, because he's just ruined it all.
Oh yeah, spoilers. That's the formula. But yeah, so you can check out those. If you want to let us know what you think of the episode and the season in the comments, by all means. I'm curious to see if you liked it. You know, why did you like the season? If you agree with us, or if you have other problems that we didn't even bring up, then by all means let us know as well. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a link in the description to that effect. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?